We're off to a fast start this week. We obviously spent the day yesterday evaluating our previous game and looking at the things that we can grow from to be better down the stretch here as we move forward, 1 week, one game at a time. And again, like I said after the game on Saturday, I am proud of our players. I'm proud of our coaches, how everyone stayed in the fight. We knew it was going to be a tremendous battle, and from that, we were able to learn things starting with us that we can do better, and will help us be better as we move forward here 1 week at a time. We're going to have a huge challenge going on the road this week against Nevada, back into conference play, which the divisions and within the whole conference is tight right now. So being our best every single week matters. And you know what, having fun doing it right now, being in the position where all our goals are right in front of us, and knowing that us achieving our goals all comes down to us 1 week at a time. That being said, we'll take any questions.
Does that make it any easier to move past the game like that, knowing, like, not to say it didn't matter obviously, but I mean in terms of the race and what the goals you do have, that really didn't impact any of it?
Well, I think no matter what it is, if you've played sports, you know that that's part of the competition, is moving forward and getting back out there and getting going again. And fortunately enough for us, we have so much set right in front of us. And again, a huge challenge this week going on the road, going on down to Nevada, where we know that there's a team coming off a bye week that is probably spent a lot of time the past week working and getting ready to play this game the best they can.
I think you guys had 2 QB hurries in the game. Both came in the first half. Both came, I believe, by Devin Wright. I guess the first question: what has Devin Wright done that's impressed you? And was there something that BYU was doing that limited you guys in blitzing, or was it just better for you guys to drop back and rush forward 3?
Well, it's not. It's the protections, the amount of max pros. And the chip protections that they were using, that's a big part of it. Devin obviously got an opportunity to jump in when Dimitri went down. Him and Gabe did a good job jumping in there. They actually was proud of those guys for stepping up and doing the things they did do. Ultimately, it comes down to us winning our one-on-ones, regardless who it is up front, and how we prepare our guys to do so each and every week is a big part of it.
I know you were focused on the game last week, but now that you're past the game, looking forward, how much do you want to continue to play BYU in the future?
Yeah, we're moving on from that now.
With Green, I know every game it's kind of the same talking points and storylines, but how have you just continued every week to see him continue to kind of take that next step with each week?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big piece of it too is it's not only his experience within our offense and operating it, the things that he does well, but it's seeing other defenses, seeing more defense, being in more situations. So how we take that, how we learn from each one of these little pieces within the game, again, from the operation and the leadership of our offense, of him leading himself, him leading the guys around him, us putting him in position to do the things that he does well, and the players around him that they do well. But again, a big part of that experience too is going against different defensive looks, being in different situations, seeing different third down plans, seeing different red zone plans, and so on.
What was the thought process for not just kneeling the ball in the final 22 seconds of the half? And
Yeah,
was that
that's
supposed
all.
to be a run play?
No, that wasn't supposed to be a run play.
Was it supposed to be?
No, that wasn't supposed to be a run play. And then, again, it's all on me. It's working to be aggressive and trying to use every bit of the clock that we had. So that's 100% on me. And putting Taylor in a situation that we could have moved on from and took it into halftime.
You're talking about Taylor and facing certain defensive situations. At the end of the day, though, would you like to see him run more, and how can you get him to run more?
Right. And so part of that is, Mike, yes, because he is, such a big factor in the run game too. But certain things are being done on the other side to take that piece away. So then what is it that gets opened up when teams are taking that away? But yes, we as a staff will do a better job making sure that not only are we putting those guys in position to get those opportunities, but charting those situations and how many times, you know, each ball carrier is actually carrying the ball, you know, not just what's being called, but how many times George is getting the ball, the wide receivers, certain wide receivers, because we got to keep count of how many times, you know, the guys that have shown to be effective with the ball in their hands get it.
Is part of it also in terms of you're trying to establish him as a passer? Is there a thought process there where maybe passing right now is more of a priority as well?
No, I think it's balanced, right? It's being balanced because, you know, we're talking about the run game, right? So there's a balance within the run-pass game. Then what is the balance within the run game of how many plays are actually read plays versus not read plays? That's really where it comes down to, you know what I'm saying? And then being able to manage that within a game, again, based off of what defenses are doing.
You know, the final drive of the game on offense, you know, starts off with a drop, there's a penalty. What are the learning moments there, and what's it like to go back with Taylor and, you know, having in that circumstance, that scenario up until the final throw?
Well, I mean, again, those situations we practice every week, multiple times a week. But to actually do it in a game, and it be the end of game is way different than before half too, right? But clearly those are situations that we gotta continue to work on. Again, we've done them well in practice at times, but it's much different. And it's the whole operation. It's not just one guy, but yes, Taylon's experience in those situations will help us going forward and how we can be better.
Earlier in the fourth quarter, when there were a couple drives where BYU would take the lead, and Taylon's having fourth quarter trailing.
Yeah.
You know, earlier than that last drive. I mean, I think there were 2 drives in a row where you guys scored where he was, I think, 7 for 7, almost 100 yards, had a couple runs. And I mean, what did you think of his poise, I guess, in that fourth quarter, facing some adversity?
Yeah, and really some of those drives weren't much longer in terms of how much time it took the offense to score than what was left at the end of the clock. And 100% honesty, like, I felt extremely confident in Taylor and what I've seen him do and what I saw him do in the game, you know, as a whole. Again, but within those situations, execution is everything. Every down matters. And we didn't get off to a fast start on that last drive. You're always in those situations at 2 minute, whether it's before the half, at the end of the game, that first play being a positive yardage play is everything, and then you take the penalty. But he was in rhythm, and he did a bunch of great things in the second half, along with the with the offense altogether, and that's what we're working to do in the first half. We were a little slow to get that rhythm going. We got to be able to start faster, and it's not just on the offense; it's as a whole. And so that's my focus, is to make sure that our plan this week is such that will allow us as a whole team in all 3 phases to start faster and get in rhythm faster.
The last 2 weeks, you guys are perfect in the red zone as far as touchdowns are concerned. What do you attribute that to?
Well, again, we were able to see the plan of what teams are doing, you know, against our offense in the red zone, and then our coaches being able to go and put a plan in place to be able to attack the things that the defenses are giving us. That's football, you know, being able to take what the other side is giving you or taking away certain things that they're doing well. And so we've got to continue on that with that. It's always about, the red zone is always about personnel too now, making sure that the plays that are being called are personnel driven, and so that's a huge part of it.
Rodney Robinson came up with another big interception.
Yeah, it's
What have
huge.
you seen out of him in terms of ball, his instincts with the ball in the air?
Yeah, that was a huge play down there. We came away with a couple interceptions, and in particular his down there on a switch vertical seams into the boundary. Number one, the identification of the set and having an idea that was coming, and then to be able to execute and finish and make that play was huge. I mean, those takeaways down there in the red zone, those are what kept us right there in the fight throughout, and obviously our offense being able then to gain a rhythm and momentum.
I know we asked about Taylor and his development every week, but it just continues to seem like it's progressing. Like, how much, I know you were confident before, but how much more confident are you in him now than you were 5 weeks ago? And how much is he excited about the future of working with him?
Oh, extremely excited about the future. I'm extremely excited about tomorrow, to be honest with you, to see how he comes out there to practice tomorrow, to see the plan get put into motion, with the future going forward. I mean, we said it a month or so back now, a little more than that we got extreme confidence in this young man and who he is as a person and his abilities, number one, to lead, and how he will grow as a leader, and his abilities in the pass game. We all know what he can do with his legs and how he can extend plays in the pass game, how he's a number in the run game. But his continued growth is going to come down to staying focused on the things that matter, and that's what we talk about. And the more and more he's able to do that, the more and more exciting it gets, Jay, because he's going to keep growing. He is going to just keep moving forward, as well as, you know, the guys around him ultimately, right?
You expect to see from the back. What do they do best, both on offense and defense scheme-wise? Do they like anybody you've seen?
So offensively, again, they're coming off a bye week. So in their last game against San Jose was their best offensive performance, and they started Shane, a quarterback that transferred from Oklahoma State, and he helped lead in one of the probably the most productive offensive outings that they've had all season. He was 18 for 29, had over 200 yards passing, and was able to move the ball through the air. You know, so what they've done over this bye week to build on top of that, and you can see too, they opened up the playbook more in terms of the passing game, and by how they were calling things, they felt more confident in the passing game. And Shane did a really nice job. So we know, again, over the course of the bye week, they've continued to improve on those things. So we've got to do a real diligent job making sure that we're playing with great techniques and coverage, and we've got to be able to get to the quarterback. We've got to disrupt the rhythm of the passing game, and then handle the quarterback draws, the running back draws, and the screen plays that come off of their drawback.
What about defense?
Defensively, they're going to move their front around a lot. They're going to be in and out of a 3-down to a 4-down front, creating multiple looks at the line of scrimmage for our offensive front and for our safeties. And you know, that's something that they've done. You know, they being Ken Wilson for a long time in terms of the pre-snap movements up front and things like that.
The 377 passing yards you guys gave up, and you mentioned the lack of pressure. Was it, everyone just looks and thinks it's all, you know, the DB's getting beaten, all this, but I mean, how much does lack of pressure come into what they were doing?
I mean, I didn't count up the yardage, but it was more than what we should have was on screen. So to answer your question on that.
Ben Dooley, he played, he's back.
Yeah.
What's he got to do to kind of get back in his rhythm, and what does it do for you guys at the O-line moving forward, getting him back?
Yeah, it was awesome to see him. You know, it's been like we were talking, it's been great to see him at practice and getting him in shape. You know, we got to look at it like this. And that was really like, in reps wise, he was on account. That's why he played more tight end than he did O-line. But you're looking at it like that's his first scrimmage at fall camp. You know, and getting him back in shape and getting him in his rhythm. And again, the amount of time that he was out, to do it right, it takes a little bit of time. So we're excited that we're in that phase now. He's been working really hard. It's exciting to see him back out there, and of course, you know, it provides more depth to an offensive line, and he's a proven player, being an all-conference player last year.
You said it was an infection. Like, how tough was that for him to come back from?
We're not talking about injuries.
With Zeke, I mean, I know he was how much was he fighting to stay in that game, and and how much of a difference does he make when he's obviously out there, because he made some plays while he was out there.
Yeah. Again, there's so much that we can talk on why we didn't accomplish the goal last week, but to be proud of our guys. I mean, there's a guy right there who literally battled to be in the game, and even at times when it's like, no, he was pretty adamant that he was going to go back in there, and you know, he's able to go back in there and be effective at times, and you know, he's a big. It's not just from the production side, but he's a huge part of this defense from the standpoint of leadership and communication. How well him and DJ operate together in the middle of that defense with the D line and the core, the DTs. It's a big deal. Zeke's doing a fabulous job this year.
You were mentioning how a lot of BYU's yards came on those screen passes. You guys not defending those as well as you wanted. Is that not getting off blocks, missing tackles? Like, what do you attribute that to?
Combination of those two, just like we spoke about after the game. Yeah. And so again, like we spoke about after the game, it's okay. It's always about what didn't we do well, and it's not like we need to go make up drills. We have drills. We need to do a better job as coaches. Again, starting with us, we will organize those drills better. We'll make sure that our fundamentals and technique are proper, and that our guys are ready to be able to cut it loose and play around, and fly around and play fast, because we have done those things well. We've done those things really, really well, and we know our guys will. We'll get to it this week and make sure that we clean that stuff up.
Defensively, looking at the bigger picture, we've talked about certain parts of it here and there, but the bigger picture, how did the defense as a whole grade out, and what came out of the BYU game that does concern you?
Well, you know, there's certain things is within any game. Like, the stats aren't always an indicator. We've played in games where we've held teams to minimal yards in certain situations, but Mike, I'll be honest with you, we come out of those games like, there's certain things that were definitely not the standard in it. So, yeah, when the stats look the way they do, and things like that, yeah, it's obvious to the eye then. But it's no different, to be honest with you. Can we be better? Yes. Our guys know that. Our guys want to be. Of course they do. But Mike, it's no different than any other week. That's why we come up in here and we talk about, well, you guys did this and you guys did that this week. Talk about there's a whole lot that I bite my tongue. I'm like, yeah, well, we got to be a lot better at this. You know, we got to be a lot better at that, and then we get to it and doing it. And our guys, that's why our guys are so great. You know, is whatever we emphasize, they're all in on it. They're all in on it. Our coaches will do a great job within the certain areas that we're talking about that we can be better at. And again, it's never just one piece. You know, as we're talking about, it's not the coverage. It's not just the rush. It's all of us working together. That's what defense is. Is everyone. Is the front complementing the back complementing the front, and playing team defense.
Times last year, you know, opposing teams would take a lot of shots at Noe. I don't know, is this the Viper 10 moment where he can be better, or if the stats are lying that he's been good? I don't know, but what have you seen out of him and his growth, and how do you think he held up? He had a couple big pass breakups in that game. How do you think he held up against BYU?
Yeah, I mean, again, we went into that game knowing that we're playing against a team that takes about as many shots as anybody in the nation. So, I mean, that's the MO. And, you know, the way those guys, the way he held up out there and battled, I mean, that's not an easy task. They call it being on an island for a reason, right? And, again, that's not just him, but there are a lot of plays made, you know, the other night. It's the way the game goes, just needed a few more. You know, and we'll work all together to get those few, you know, in our next opportunity.
You had Scott Matlock make his return on Saturday. How big of a difference maker is he both on the field and kind of as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, it's the defensive front when he's in there is just, it's different. From the leadership standpoint, it's like having a coach on the field from the operation, and then, you know, Scott draws a lot of attention when he's in there. He's disruptive and all in the run game, in the pass game, and so Scotty's been huge. And I know you know the way he works, and yesterday, you know, having conversations, he's looking forward to being his best down the stretch right here for the team. You know, and I'm excited to see him do that and help him do that.
You got the first basketball game on Wednesday. I'm just curious in terms of when the basketball team's winning, how does it help the football team? How does the football team help them? And I know, I guess at some point, Coach Rice has spoken to the team. I don't know if it was last year or the summer or something, but what, maybe it was before you got here, but I'm just, what's the relationship like, I guess, and how do you guys feed all, help each other?
We're all Broncos, and that's one thing that we're working to do here all together. It's there's different sports in this athletic department, but we're all pulling for each other. We're all helping each other. We're looking forward to seeing our basketball team and Coach Rice have an unbelievable year. Coach Rice has come and spoke to our team and comes to our practices, and when our season, here after next month is over in January and February, we'll be at the basketball games too, and with our players, and our players go and be there with our families. It's as well as the other sporting events. That's the cool part about being here at Boise State, is that everybody supports each other, and we're all in for the common good and to grow the athletics program here, led by JD, and JD brings that to the table. The way he brings people together, and I'm just, it's a blessing to be a part of it, because I'm just going to say at times it hasn't always been that way.
With Gabe, he's a guy that went from not a lot of playing time to a whole lot of it. How has he handled it? And for a guy that the bullets are live now, how do you slow things down for him, for a young guy that again to pick up so quickly?
Yeah, until you get that experience, much like we were talking about with some of the other guys, whether that's Cortez, we're talking about even Talon, right? Practice is practice, but getting the game reps and the game speed's different. It is, and we work as diligent and the best we can, and being smart about it in practice to get that speed as close as we can. There's nothing like jumping in there, and at that point, you can't do anything but draw and rely on your training and your preparation and how you practice. And that's the cool thing about this sport, is you build your rhythm, you prepare your instincts, you prepare your mind and your physical ability throughout the week, so that you can go out there and react and play fast on game day. And that's the cool thing about this sport. You only play once a week. The rest of the week, you're getting yourself ready. Thank you, guys.